Hey, everybody, Kevin here with Pursuing Pixels, and welcome back to another edition of Save It for the Cast. And as per usual, I'm going to kick the ball over to John Randall and I in just a few minutes here after I rattle off some of the stuff that I've been playing lately. I've been doing quite a bit of gaming as of late, and on this week's episode, or on the Save It for the Cast, once we get to the conversation stuff, we definitely lean a little heavy into the basketball conversation with John and Randall. This is from a recording that we did a little bit before the basketball season started up proper. So they were kind of speculating some of the teams that, just how things might go that season. But we do, in the back half of the episode, definitely veer into video game territory per usual. And it's just kind of funny. It's like us getting ready to we're talking about what order we're going to record it, and then we end up veering off for 25, 30 minutes. So there's a lot of fun chit chat here, a few little funnies at the end as well. But like I said, as always, I got to talk about some of the stuff that I've been playing. And I've done a few streams lately, and I jumped on, did a short stream. I wish I could have streamed a little bit longer, but my back pain started creeping up on me a little bit. But I ended up playing some Ludum Dare 52 entries. That's, one of our favorite game jams. And if you're unfamiliar, game jam is typically, folks make games over the course of, 3-4 days. I think it's actually 2 or 3 days in this case, over the weekend, essentially. This is the 52nd Ludum Dare. I found out that they do it 3 times a year. I was wondering, man, if they only do it 2 times a year, they've been doing this for 25 years. But even still, with 3 times a year, that's kind of crazy. I ended up playing the theme this year, or for this for number 52, was Harvest. And of course, I had to jump on. PUNKCAKE made a game called Furious Farm. It's actually, I gotta admit, at least in its current state in game jam form, it's probably one of my least favorite PUNKCAKE entries. I still really like it a lot, and I've been jumping in their Discord, and Remy, the lead developer on this game, they were sharing some emoji or kind of icons of these pandas that are kind of sad and then smiling. So that definitely was not in the game jam version. So I'm very much, they usually tend to explore their game jam stuff. They've done now 3 Ludum Dares with Shotgun King, the Turgenev study, which I've been talking about a bunch, and actually did play on a stream recently as well after I did all the vertical mouse not horizontal, but just regular mouse testing, which will actually be on I think next week's episode. If not, it'll be the following proper episode. But I talk about Turgenev study along with my vertical mouse escapades ever since getting that for Christmas. But anyways, I don't think I actually started with Furious Farm, but yeah, it's kind of just a top-down tractor racing game, again with the theme being harvest. Or it's not really a racing game, you're actually just trying to harvest as much of the grain as possible, and you get a few different items that you can get, you get a Molotov cocktail or a spare tire that kind of works like a green shell in Mario Kart, and that's sort of why I thought of a racing game. But yeah, with knowing that they're probably going to expand this into a full, proper PUNKCAKE release, I am pretty excited, even though, it was kind of bare bones, but the style's amazing, the music's amazing. It almost feels like you're playing like the theme song I was saying while I was streaming, it almost feels like a wrestler's theme song, especially the title music. So PUNKCAKE just never misses. And again, with me saying it's on my lower end of entries or just games from them in general, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not good. I've played it a few times since even streaming it. I was just let me see if I can get the hang of it. But I ended up bouncing over to a few other games. The first game I actually streamed, or during the Ludum Dare stream, was Grow Golf from a developer, Torcado. Their main commercial game is called Heck Deck, but they've done quite a few other game jam releases as well that I've checked out in passing, kind of, just here and there, but I've definitely enjoyed everything I've ever played from them, and Grow Golf seems to be kind of a front runner. At the time of recording this, the results aren't in, but I think the results are coming in this weekend as far as the winners of Ludum Dare and everything, and this one was definitely at the top of the charts every time I saw it. And you basically, it's a top-down game as well, and you kind of have this island grid of soil, and you have one golf ball to start, and then you can launch that golf ball, and it kind of snaps to a grid. You kind of almost click on the screen anywhere with your mouse and then pull it back almost like Angry Birds style. And then it will launch the golf ball, and that will bounce off the sides of the screen. It won't just fly off the island, at least to start. And it'll kind of bounce off the edge, and then anywhere that the golf ball lands, it'll actually plant a new little seedling. And then you can actually turn the golf balls that you plant as you grow more of them into water balls, and then have a mixture of water balls and regular balls. So you're planting them and then watering them at the same time. You have to water a tile that's been planted 3 times. I know this is probably kind of confusing, but yeah, I just really love checking out these game jam games. So you're actually not only watering the like the new seedling golf ball things, but you're actually watering the tiles as well. So if they get too dried out, they'll actually like evaporate and completely disappear. And then after they start disappearing, you can actually turn some of the golf balls into like rock earth balls or whatever. And then if they hit an open tile, they'll create like a new little piece of land on all the surrounding, all 9 tiles kind of surrounding it and the space that it lands on. So really, really cool. You got to kind of like manage, like by the time I was playing my last run of it on the stream, I was like, okay, I'm getting it now. And it's another game that I'd love to see explored more. Like, I feel like you could just add more mechanics, more power-ups and this and that. But once I was like, oh, I had this like tidal wave of water balls while I was planting a bunch. So it's like every shot I took, I was growing a bunch more, planting a bunch more, watering the soil. I ended up, shooting myself in the foot eventually. But yeah, that one was super fun. And then another one that I had a blast with was Howdy Boy Harvest. I'm a huge fan of the games from Ishmael Rodriguez. Below the Ocean is a game that I've talked about on the podcast, which was actually, I believe, a Game Jam entry as well. I can't remember if it was Ludum Dare or Game Maker's Toolkit, but it was definitely one of the bigger game jams. And I remember that was kind of how I discovered their games, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even just stumbling across their stuff on Twitter maybe or online somewhere. But anyways, they always have this really cool, I shouldn't say always, they've done a few different styles here and there, but often they do this really cool, like 1-bit mostly style with a few pops of color. So it's not 1-bit truly, but yeah, this game has just like a really great, like, stark black background, mostly white sprites. And then, yeah, a few different colors for the flowers and enemies. And I know they were talking about on the game's page, like I was hoping to, it almost feels like playing Kingdom. It's like a side scroller. And I think there's a retro game called Defender or Commander where you have like a mini map on the top of the screen and it just kind of loops over. Like if you keep running to the right, you'll just kind of loop over and get back to where you're at. Unlike Kingdom in that regard, I guess. But it really feels like it could be an awesome like harvesting arcade game where you're like running around. You basically have to let the flower grow all the way to the top, and then once you harvest that, it'll plant seeds for like the next like upgrade of flower, and then you can unlock like these boxes that give you more seeds, more, I don't know if they give you more money because I think you have to buy them, so that would kind of negate itself, I guess, but it also like spawns a new rain cloud and that makes the flowers grow faster, and then eventually these beetles and bugs start coming in from the side. And again, Ishmael was saying on the game page like they wanted to add in more enemies and different types of like traps you could buy and whatever. This is like one of the games probably more so than any of the others that I played where I'm like, I really, really would love to see a post-jam update because there's a lot of potential. But I guess I said the same thing about the PUNKCAKE game as well. And one other game I checked out as well, which is a little more straightforward, but I would love to play more levels of it as well. If the developer was interested in exploring it. And it's actually the first game I've played from this developer, which I'm drawing a blank on at the moment, but I'll put a link in the episode description here. They didn't have like a social media page, which is why it didn't like burn into my brain or whatever. But the game was called Wheat World, and this was more of just a traditional side-scrolling platformer. Precision platformer with a little bit of puzzle going on as well. And there's basically like these like wheat stalks throughout the stage, and you just basically jump and slash those with your scythe or whatever, and that will actually give you like a little bit of like a, not quite a double jump, but just like a little bit of extra hang time, like almost like when you would do the little like wiggle the Wii remote in New Super Mario Brothers on the Wii or Wii U, like where you get that little like spin extra hang time. It's like kind of more along those lines of like just a little extra air, but you do have to really like look at where is all the wheat on this stage. It's kind of single screen stages. And if you harvest everything, it's kind of going for 100%, but it's also kind of built for speed running. There's like a timer up in the corner. And then they do introduce a couple other vegetables. Like there's a carrot that more acts like a rocket when you slash it. Like you kind of grab onto it when you slash it with your scythe, and then it blasts you up in the air. And then you can jump off it from there, slash the wheat that's like up higher up. But yeah, I really thought it was clever how much I had to think about like which wheat or which vegetable I'm going to slash first. And then they add like some corn for the last couple stages that you have to hit multiple times to harvest it. So you got to think like, okay, I got to make sure I leave this, like don't completely destroy it so I can use it for that kind of double jump floater mechanic. But just so many cool games. I played a couple others that I can't think of off the top of my head, but I'll try to put a link to actually just the stream I did. If I remember in the episode description here as well. But yeah, I've been doing some other streams as well. Played this other, I think it was made for a different game jam now that I think about it, but I believe it's had some polish, if not some post-jam polish. If not, it's absolutely insane how polished this game is. It's called Stelloop, Stelloop. And this is from Ben Star Dev. That's at least their name online. It's the developer of Ravita, and then with a couple other folks that worked on the music and some of the art in the opening sequence, which is really awesome in both regards. But the game has this really awesome, kind of similar to the Howdy Boy Harvest from Ishmael Rodriguez, like that 1-bit style, stark black background, white sprites with some light blue sprites, and then there's like a few other colors mixed in for the different tarot cards that you draw. And it's basically like a deck building idler game that's very heavily inspired by Vampire Survivors, which I still haven't played, but I really want to because it's on Game Pass at this point. So there's just kind of no excuse. It's just because people have talked about it. Personally, it doesn't look all that appealing to me. I don't like the look of the game, and I don't know, but with so many people raving about it and going, okay, I finally tried it out and I'm hooked. I'm kind of like, and then after playing the Stelloop game, which is inspired by it, I'm like, okay, I can understand the addictiveness, but I really thought Stelloop added a clever, again, having not played Vampire Survivors, added some clever elements to the mix where like you actually don't control your character. You basically just have like the moon in the center of the screen, and then you're this witch on a broom that has like, just keeps circling around the moon automatically. And then as you draw different cards, it's like, upgrade it, you add new attacks, like you just start out firing a witch bullet every so often, and then you can upgrade like the frequency of the attacks, and it's just all random draws. There's tons and tons of cards, and then after you last, I think it's like 6 minutes or something like that, then you can fuse multiple cards together, and you're just earning currency, which is just stars, I think, by destroying enemies, and every now and then you can get like cards that are, get multiple stars from destroying enemies or make enemies explode. I mean, there's just tons and tons of upgrades. And then you have a few different, you can discard cards, which doesn't really do anything unless you have played a card that's like gain health back if you discard a card, or there's a few different, perks along those lines. And then there's it's either like search or seek, I think is what it's called. And you can grab a card like, oh, I like this upgrade. I want to put this on the seek like magnifying glass sort of thing, and that will actually make it slightly more likely for you to draw that card. So you can even, once you fuse cards together, those might come up, and they're actually just like, at first I was like, how have they come up with all these fusions? But it's truly like, it's just one card that does two things in one, but then you can take that card, put it in the seek pile, and then you might get it anyways, but you really might say, oh man, I'm just completely beefing myself up. Like I had a run that ended up lasting like 33 minutes. The screen was just completely covered. Like while I was streaming, I was like, I hope these sound effects aren't too loud because it is just absolutely drowning out the music, almost like drowning out my ability to think. Like it was just absolutely crazy. But just had honestly one of the most fun times I've had streaming, and then jumped over to the Turgenev study from PUNKCAKE after that to kind of mellow out, even though that game gets pretty bullet helly as well. But it's the aesthetic and everything is just a little more mellow and laid back. So I just had I've really just been having a blast streaming lately. I still haven't been able to get on like a proper schedule, but I'm hoping to get on that soon. And I was actually planning on talking about some of the stuff that I've been playing on Game Pass lately too, but I think I'm going to wait. I dug my Xbox out of the garage after they announced Hi-Fi Rush out of nowhere on Game Pass, and I was like, oh man, this looks right up Randall and I's alley, which unfortunately I'm going to have to play it cloud. I played just a little bit of it, and I'll hopefully, I don't know if Randall's actually going to end up playing any of it or not, but it definitely looked up both of our alleys, and I know he's been firing up the Xbox a little more frequently, and I've been also now firing up mine now that I pulled it out of the garage. So at the risk of rambling on for way too long, because yeah, like I said, I've been going on way longer than I intended to here. I was like, oh, I'll just briefly touch on these Ludum Dare 52 games, but yeah, at the risk of rambling on and on and on, I'm going to leave it there for the intro and kick it over to Randall John and I. But yeah, until next week, we'll catch you then, and take care. You hyped for that retro expo, man?
Yeah. I part of my thought process was like, oh, in my downtime at work or otherwise, I'm gonna like put together a list of like the things I want to look for, and I haven't even made it that far yet, and I'm supposed to leave on Thursday.
Oh man, how long are you guys going to Portland? It's in again, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I'm actually going by myself this time.
Ooh,
yeah. So
nice.
Like, Tina and Fiona are sticking back, which kind of works out because like Fiona still needs naps and everything, and like in one hotel room that can be kind of difficult logistically, So
yeah,
it's like,
yeah. You can just focus on enjoying the retro.
Yeah.
Just soaking in the vibes all weekend. And
I can be a slob that just sits there on the vendor floor for
exactly
way too many hours at a time, and then go play whatever obscure arcade game that's on the floor for a while or whatever, and not worry about having to run back or whatever, all that fun stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I still think probably my favorite discovery of that, because I don't even think I knew this game existed, but when we went and there was like I think you got it, or maybe we just played it, but that Tetris, like Japanese battle Tetris game. Did you
Tetris
buy that?
Gaiden for Super Famicom? Yes, of course.
Yeah,
absolutely. Tetris Battle Gaiden, maybe. Yeah,
I can't remember. Yeah, both of those sounded right. So I don't, I don't know for sure, but
it's a quality game.
Yeah, it's basically like Puzzle Fighter meets Tetris
with Tetris mechanics, because it's an official Tetris product.
Very good game. Just blows my mind that didn't make it over to America, but
it's lots of interesting decisions that way.
Yep.
Of games that should have come over.
Yeah. What do we feel like opening with? Any preferences? I know we were talking about winging it here, but anybody feeling strongly with leading or closing with something? I don't mind if we can definitely wing it. As long as we just kind of know what we're gonna lead and or close with.
We already know what we're closing with.
Yeah, it's got to be NBA, baby.
Yes,
it's got to be NBA. I feel like there's no other choice at this point. It's basically that's its slot in the roster.
That's exactly right. Yes.
I felt so dumb after. So Randall and I were texting about what our expectations for the coming season were.
Yes.
And
I'm already upset with my list, but continue.
Same.
Yes.
I'm like
yes.
It was only after I sent you it that I realized is like, oh yeah, the Pacers have literally no one.
I know. Yes.
Like
yes.
I'm happy with my position of Utah, because I do think that they're basically going like Utah and San Antonio, I think are gunning for the lottery.
They're only fielding players because they have to.
Exactly. They traded literally everyone. Like,
yes.
San Antonio had a decent, like, I forget even what player they had who was in there. Is like
DeJounte Murray of Seattle, and they traded him to Atlanta.
Yep, they traded away their only viable player because he was too good.
Yes. Even though Popovich is still there, so he must.
He's still there.
Yeah, he's the winningest coach of all time.
Sounds right.
I think
that's right.
I think he officially has the winningest coach, and like it's so funny that like he has basically a winning record of every single season except his first season and the past two.
Wow. Wow.
Which is unbelievable, but he is definitely like dragging down his average of win percentage.
Well, there's no more David Robinsons or Tim Duncans on that roster, so that's
why they're tanking for the newest
for Victor Wembanyama.
I feel like they almost held on for like 5 years longer than they should have. Like when they had that veteran squad, and it was just they were just kind of like the veteran team for like
they won so many
almost a decade. Like I mean, rightfully so, they held on, but it was just like. They were an old team for a long time.
Absolutely.
You can't blame when you
first missed the postseason, like it was like their first miss in like 19 straight years. And I was like, can you imagine like maybe not competing every year, but like having a chance at the championship every single year for like 2 decades?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And the pressure is kind of crazy too, but I mean, they won 5 times in that. In that zone, so that's great success considering all the competition.
I love Pop, and I love how Spoelstra is the new Popovich.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That's always a threat. Yeah, that's why I put Miami where I did. Like, I don't think Miami's going to be as good of a team, but they always have regular season success. And Jimmy Butler's just a dog, and he won't let them lose.
Jimmy Butler just wants he just wants to work out and be the man.
Yes.
Is that a quote? Is that a direct quote from Jimmy?
Jimmy Buckets, baby.
Jimmy Buckets.
Jimmy Crack Corn.
So, Kevin, like, just so you're aware, this person that everyone is going to be tanking for in the next season, Victor Wembanyama, is 7'5", but he moves like Kevin Durant. So, and can kind of shoot like Kevin Durant.
And scores, Like, it is.
Okay.
But, like,
because even somebody like Yao Ming dominated. So imagine somebody like more athletic. Or maybe athletic's not even the right
athletic
word,
and
more
agile.
Nimble.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God!
That's crazy. 7'5", you said?
7'5", and they're comparing him as like a combination of KD and Giannis in like one person.
That's sickening. I haven't really seen Giannis play enough, but anybody getting compared to Kevin Durant is
is top tier prospect.
Giannis
one of the best
is
players
6'11".
Yeah.
I can't imagine a 7 foot
crazy. 7'5". That's like a foot and a half taller than me, and I'm like a decently tall guy. You know, that's crazy.
Yep.
That's crazy. I know. I think we've even talked about this on the podcast or save it for the cast before. But I know when we worked at Best Buy, like when Chauncey would occasionally come in or something, or you're just like, what the hell? Chauncey's like 6'4", dude.
Yeah,
he's like a pretty big guy.
Yeah,
it's like a shrimp on the court.
I know. Sheed was a bigger dude. That's for sure.
Yeah, Sheed and Tayshaun too.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. He's standing at 2.2 meters tall. The fact that you can be multiple meters.
I know.
Because that's even more than a yard.
It's ridiculous. Everyone just says he looks like a 2K creative player. Like you just put all the stats to max, and you would end up with this guy. Like, he doesn't look real. Like that's what they're saying he's the best prospect since LeBron, basically.
Okay.
And he's a 209, so he's not like fucking twig. Like
yeah, he doesn't look like Chet, where he's got like nothing on his bones necessarily. He just looks like a guy who's like 6'3" or 4", but just kind of like elongated more. He doesn't necessarily look unnatural except for how crazy tall he is.
No, he just looks like he just looks so much bigger than everyone else.
Yes.
Because usually like Yao Ming, like he's got that like lanky, long, kind of like spindly
he's got
look to him.
Victor's got some his wingspan is not.
Oh my God. What's his wingspan? Like 8 foot.
Oh my God.
But you guys are saying he's like kind of well, you're saying he's kind of like built, and I'm sure Yao Ming had some muscles and whatnot, but he looked like a scrawny guy. A lot of those tall guys look really like scrawny and like they look like it's not a surprise that you're like, oh yeah, Yao Ming had a bunch of injuries. Not a huge surprise. He looks kind of feeble almost.
Holy shit, Yao Ming was only 7'6". Okay, so Victor's listed at 7'2", but all of these listings are lies.
Yes,
I don't trust anyone. But he's 18. He's going to grow.
Jeez, okay.
And he has an 8 foot wingspan.
Yeah, that's just gross, man.
They say he's going to change the way basketball is going to get played. Like,
I hope. I love it.
Every now and then somebody comes around, that's for sure.
So I have had this conversation with my friend Joey, but I don't think I've had it with you, Randall.
Yeah.
How I do not think we would have as many triple doubles if Russell Westbrook didn't like average a triple double for a season.
Yes.
Because like I feel like him going out and doing that then made every superstar be like, well, I'm better than Russell Westbrook. So like
he made that a stat to target. He really did.
But he was the only one who was going to be like, fuck it, I'll do it. Like I'll work hard like every single game. I won't take a single game off and then lose in the first round in the playoffs, but fuck you, I can do this. And then everyone's like, well, if he did it, then I guess we have to too. Like, I can't be outshone by him. But then like that cemented him as like, well, he averaged triple double for a season.
He really did.
Yeah, you can't fucking take that away.
You can't argue. You can't really argue about it. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not even a fan, but you're like, man, you can't argue that the guy is not contributing to the team.
Yes.
Of course, you can't even try to accomplish that without the usage. Basically, like the ball was always in his hand for that to be accomplished.
Right.
But
it did not translate to team success. But
no.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, then that like set a standard where it's like, well, now like if you're not doing it, at least that, then are you really even trying?
It's true. Yeah. I ranked the Knicks last, and that was a mistake. They're not going to be that bad.
I know. Yeah.
Has the draft happened yet?
Yes, for the previous season, yes. But now, like, this upcoming season, all anyone's ever going to talk about is this next draft, basically.
So nobody has this kid yet. He'll
Not
be
yet.
next season.
Nope, the tanks haven't started yet.
Yeah.
I hate that I'm old enough to call upcoming athletes kids now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just
He's
by default.
18.
Like,
Yes.
I always used to say in my head, like, as soon as I'm older than college athletes is what I used to say as like a kid, then I'll know I'm old. But yeah, like when I'm like getting borderline like running back retirement age, it's like it's kind of start to feel old.
Yep.
Just like when announcers are constantly like, oh yeah, time for him to hang up the cleats, and you're like, man, I'm just like I'm supposed to be in my prime over here. I thought.
Yep. Coming
Guess
to the end of
who the current oldest player is
in the
basketball?
Yeah, in the yeah.
Udonis Haslem. Let's go.
You got it in one, baby.
Nice.
One team, 42 years of age.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also because he doesn't actually play basketball.
Right, I know. He's a
assistant
coach on the bench.
He's holding the clipboard and coaching up the young guys and like, hey, I won a championship once.
Yeah. Ugh.
Maybe
I figured
more than once. He's got more than one, right?
Yeah, he won. He was on for every.
Yeah.
He might even be. He might have been on the Heat.
I think he had like 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a 3-time champ.
Yeah, he was definitely on the
2006
Dwayne Wade teams. Yeah.
My man.
He was.
God, love it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He was a quality role player during those days.
Oh yeah,
He big contributor to that team for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he's the oldest player in the NBA right now at 42.
Nice.
Which, yeah.
Coming up on Tom Brady years.
Although Vince Carter was kind of pushing that as an active player.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's true.
But he also, like, he could sink it from.
Oh, he's a good player.
Yeah, he was like, once you. Like, yeah, it's always that whole, God, we got to start this episode at some point. But like, yeah, like
he was
it's the
still
whole
dunking
Ray
under the
Allen
leg
thing where it's like, he doesn't really need to move up and down the court. If you just toss the
He
ball
just
to
needs
him
to
at
get
the
open.
3-point line.
Yeah.
Just
be a
you need to
threat.
you just need to call good plays and have him post up in the corner. And if you can get Ray Allen open,
He's gonna
be good till he's
gonna hit.
45.
Yeah. Honestly, yes.
As long as he's got the stamina, basically.
What's wild now is there's players like LeBron that might legitimately be that at 45. Like there's going to be a world where players like that are in the league,
like graduate to that type of player.
Yeah,
like, okay, I can't
45.
drive the lane like I used to, but I can still, pretend like I'm gonna and then pull a jump shot. And
That was there was I do like sports anime, but I like it when it's realistic because there was a sports anime or a sports manga that I read that was just like the most insane limits of basketball. It was like, this team scored 80-0. It was like, their defense is just so good. This player inbounded the ball and shot sunk a basket from across the court. I'm like, this is dumb. I hate this.
It's literally not a legal play. That's not
like
how it works.
It's like in Space Jam too. It's like you're rooting for like the Toon Squad to win, but then you're also kind of not rooting for Michael Jordan to be a ball hog and dunk it from half court with his Stretch Armstrong arm. You're kind of like, what the hell? Throw it to Bill Murray. He's
Bill
wide
Murray's
open,
right
man.
over
He's calling for it. Or even Newman's over there. Like pass him the rock. Pass him the rock. But I just remember thinking, like, man, I'm glad I wanted them to win, but like this is kind of sucks. I kind of hate Michael Jordan
I want
for
a
this like
game here.
this selfish dunk here at the end. He's got to win the game.
I want the Sean Marion Monstar and the Muggsy Bogues
baby.
Monstar.
Yeah. Who says the bunny can't jam, man?
That's right. They did base them on real basketball players.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Because they like suck their powers out.
That was wrong.
Right?
It was not Sean Marion. What's the name of him?
Sean Kemp. Was it Kemp?
No.
It was like, but there was like Muggsy Bogues.
Muggsy Bogues.
Charles Barkley. You're not Charles Barkley.
You're just
a wannabe.
looks like
him. Be gone, boy. That was probably my most quoted line from a movie as a kid.
That's great. Monstars NBA players. Yep. Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Larry Johnson, Sean Bradley, and Muggsy Bogues.
Bradley. Okay.
I knew it wasn't Mary.
Forgot about him.
It wasn't
I totally
the Matrix.
Forgot about him.
Come on.
That's sweet.
Yeah. But, okay, what are we thinking here? You want to take the lead with some Cozy Grove, John?
Sure.
Or, because I'm thinking maybe I should just save Wilder Place for either a save it for the cast intro or something, and we could just do Cozy Grove, Pocky, Zelda, and NBA, because I feel like there's plenty of conversation.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to have that fifth game in there.
That'll be plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or we could lead with Pocky and Rocky, whatever you guys would prefer.
Either way, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I just figured in my head I was like splitting it up, like I was going to lead and just mention Wilder Place briefly, and then I was like, okay, it'll be me, then John on Cozy, then Pocky and Rocky with me and Randall, then me and John, well, everybody on Zelda, and then basketball. So we got a good spread regardless.
Yeah, whatever works.
I don't know. Anybody have a preference between Cozy or Pocky being the lead? Pocky's like kind of new, I guess, but like not that new.
Yeah, in one sense, I guess it's
new. Like it's not really new, especially by the time this episode comes out.
Yeah.
Another few weeks, so yeah, really no. Or we could lead with Zelda and wrap it and then put the stuff in the middle and then wrap it with NBA.
Let's start with Pocky.
Let's do it.
Okay. I like it. Initiative, baby. I like it.
Just making a choice.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. I love it. John and DJ are always great for like just making a choice. Like when we're playing random games, like I feel like DJ especially is just like speedrunners, or you are always like, let's just play Conduct together.
Yeah, I'm just like
why are we thinking about this?
We are going to spend 10 minutes saying, well, what do you want to play? What do you want to play? It's like, all right, we'll pick a game, and if we don't like it, we'll switch.
Yeah, it's like coming up with a boss fight set list. Just like, what do we want to play first? What's it like? What do we want to? What songs do we want to play? Nice. All right, so we'll do Pocky, then Cozy, then Zelda, then NBA. Nice conversational one. I like this.
Pocky, Cozy, Zelda, NBA.
Because I don't know. I'm sure we'll get into some just Pocky in general.
Yeah.
This was reshrined. I'm just going to look at it to get my...
Yeah, Pocky and Rocky
reshrined.
Which got a nice little bit of censorship in America, unfortunately.
Oh, I am unaware of this.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
Is it the balls on the Tanuki?
Oh, that would make sense.
I don't think is, but maybe.
That's definitely a thing anyway. Yeah.
I don't think it's that, but it's pretty much the equivalent. It's the equivalent of that almost.
Were there balls on Rocky in the Super Nintendo games?
I don't remember.
Let's see.
Should I Google Pocky and Rocky balls?
I'm looking Pocky and Rocky reshrined, censored.
It's very minimal, but
oh, whatever.
Like I was bummed just in the sense of like I don't like it's like I don't want to support censorship, but I had already ordered it, so I was like in my head I was like I would have ordered the Japanese version just to have the true version, but
it doesn't make any.
It's not the end of the world.
No,
it's not even.
It's just kind of silly. It's like why would they censor
testicles?
Instead, it's just truly like why is more than anything. Like why? What difference did this make to anyone?
Yeah.
This is
other than to the people that censored it. Like who cared?
Yeah,
that's what I want to know. But
I mean, I saw plenty of breasts in Castlevania with their monsters.
Yeah, man.
Right.
That's the only reason I play games, man. I tried to get that Tomb Raider secret code. Oh, man.
That kind of was a thing in the 90s, though.
It definitely was. I mean,
yeah.
Duke Nukem, that was like pretty much like
Duke
go to the strip club in the demo, man.
Duke Nukem.
Like, yeah, God.
In the shareware release.
Duke Nukem for never. That's where I'm at with that series.
I mean, yeah.
Someone pointed out that I think Beyond Good and Evil has 3 has had a longer period of being unreleased than Duke Nukem Forever.
Oh, that's brutal.
Beyond Good and Evil 2. There is it's not
yeah, it is 2.
It's still number 2.
Brutal.
Wasn't that supposed to be an Xbox game? Like maybe 360.
I think.
I guess the original was on Xbox.
Yeah.
And it's like been in talks since that era, which is crazy. But it's kind of cool that it's still floating around, I guess.
I hope.
I mean, probably doesn't bode well for the game, but just cool that it's like isn't just dead in the water, I guess. I don't know.
Just release it.
Yeah, for real. Just give it. Yeah, at some point, I feel like at some point with some of those releases that just drag on, like just put it out there.
As the resident Metroid Prime fan on the podcast, I've known nothing but
give me something.
You remember
give me
that?
Something. I forgot. I kind of forgot about that.
Remember Metroid Prime 4?
I
remember that logo they showed off?
I truly can't believe they haven't like released the trilogy or something on Switch. Even just like the first Prime on Switch, like just to like wet people's whistle. But I guess they did Dread.
Hey, everybody! It's Pursuing Pixel.
All right, let me jot down the time here on my end.
Oh, Nintendo.
So
Nintendo, indeed.
Oh my god.
Super chill, bro.
Fucking hell, man.
It's pretty funny. The comments on TikTok can be pretty funny. I will say though, man, sometimes when I go to like, check notifications or whatever, just like, I'd usually check like every couple days or something because you can schedule like 10 days in advance. So I'll just schedule 2 videos or a day or something. And then when I go on, it's so easy to just get lost in like the feed and just refreshing and like, oh, here, dumb video. You just watch like 50 of them in a row. And like, what am I doing? Yeah. What am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole point. Lizard brain.
Yep. But I will say there are some pretty funny ones. And I've said it before, I think to John or whatever, but like a lot of times now my sister and I will like send TikToks back and forth to each other that are like kind of funny. And then we'll start texting back and forth. So it's like, we went from hardly ever texting to like now we like goof around and laugh at dumb TikTok videos. So
yeah.
It's kind of cool. As much as it's a dumb, thing, it's like, hey, it's actually been added a couple bonuses to my life. So
everything's a dumb thing.
Yeah,
exactly. That's couldn't be more true.
I think half the time my sisters are happy that like we just send videos to each other, and then also sometimes John just gets super high and talks about communism for an hour. Hey,
it's pretty on brand.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Sometimes I wonder if people actually enjoy my company.
I definitely do.
Me too.
I definitely do.
I love doses.
No, the rants are some of my favorites. The rants are some of my faves.
We need to get a clap.
John is wrestling over here, baby.
This is like a physical comedy from like a 2000s movie. Like
Charlie Chaplin over here.
I know, yeah, the silent film.
That's amazing. We need to do a recording more often than a month because apparently that's how long it takes for this fucking garbage mic stand to rust over or whatever. Christ alive. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Hello, John.
Yeah, thanks for squeezing this in, too, because I know we were just texting in the band thread earlier, and John was like, I'm good, and I'm, like, busy till the 17th, so I was like, oh, man. I was like, if you're swamped, we can always reschedule, but...
At this point in the day, like, it doesn't make a difference. Like, if I don't get a thing done at 9 p.m., who the fuck is gonna complain?
Right.
Right.